It's a frog day. Oh shit, bad things broke. Things broke, yeah? Every time. Every time. What do I even expect? D20 thinks you should have broadcast. Took a few minutes to find you today. This sucks. Oof. Really? You don't just use the link? Front page for caffeine's always been rough to navigate sometimes, so I always like using the link stuff to get to streams. You're like one of the only people I know that actually looks. I wanna just plug you in, controller. I think I did it. Look at all these nice plants. Aren't they nice? Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Wow. No. Nothing friendly about these goddamn frogs. So it begins again.
The echo hasn't faded. I guess that didn't work.
Visible walls. They're just so small.
I couldn't do it. Focus, Cal.
It doesn't matter what I do. The frogs will froginate me. You know what, Chad? I'll do something you guys have been asking.
Wonder what happened here.
How about that? How about that? This frog fight's gonna be the stream. I know it is. So may as well just add to my suffering. Compound it, if you will.
Gotta stay calm.
After all, it's the Cinco de Frog Day. It's both. Game, please. Hold on, guys. 2 seconds. Hold on. Okay.
Right here, bud. Little help, BD.
How? Yeah. Dixpert is. Have fun, Chad. Have fun.
The Echo's still here. I can do this.
Chat, did I add the death counter? I'm sure I did. Yo, 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 yo.
Help! Looks like it's still here. Gotta stay calm.
God
I don't think that did it. I can do this.
He doesn't think he did it, chat. Bah. Ha. Ha. No. It's so dead. Yeah, like. No.
that didn't work. Focus, Cal. Now.
It's going great. It's going so well. I'm having such a good time. It's such a good fight. It's so much fun. It's so great. It's so good. It's so swell. It makes me so happy.
The echo's still here.
It's not
I don't think that did it.
at all.
Focus, Cal.
It's not breaking my soul. Nope. Nope. Calm and collected today, chat. Calm and collected streamer.
BD.
Glad to hear that it's going well. Let's add more frogs. Jarvis, you hearing this shit? You hearing this?
The echo hasn't faded. I guess that didn't work.
Yeah, he's hearing it. He's like, You like frogs, right? I do, actually.
Do this.
Just not these ones. I hate them so much.
The echo's still here.
So I have a question that may be kind of interesting, yeah?
Focus, Cal. BD, stim here.
But it's not typical realm of what you talk about on stream, oh yeah?
No luck, BD.
What are your thoughts on the potential economic crisis we're about to head in? You mean the one that we're currently in? Look, we're already in another recession. Or not recession, we're in another... No, yeah, no, the recession's word.
Now.
We're not out of one, man. We're just gonna have another drop of good old-fashioned economic, lively happiness hood. But we're not even out of the one we're currently in.
Something's still wrong.
Like, the bubble's gonna pop on a lot of things.
Focus, Cal.
Like, when the housing market crashes again, that's gonna be real rough. I hate to say it, it's not an if. It's a win. It's very much like another good old-fashioned bubble. Which sucks.
There's still something missing. I can do this.
No, I mean, a lot of comments are thinking it's just going to get worse, but they've been thinking it's going to get worse for a while, because it is going to get worse eventually. There is no way that we don't hit, like, a depression or something very soon. Fuck right off. Everything, it goes to crash. The up value of houses and no one is buying. Yep. I mean, there's a lot of inflation going on. There's a lot of factors when it comes to, like, economics in general.
I don't think that
and
works.
COVID puts us all in really weirdly uncharted territory
Gotta stay calm.
for current day economics. Every time even my brain is in full derp mode today, hey, I understand. I'm in barely cohesive streamer day mode. Which, you know, this is a great time to mention this. Because a lot of people have been asking, and I haven't really talked about it much on stream while we're talking about stuff, but June 1st is my final stream. I think a lot of people think it's just me switching platforms. It's not what's happening. I am going to be done streaming for the foreseeable future on that date. A lot of people have been asking that question. So, there you go, VOD viewers. Now you have your answer. I think we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but no, we're done on that date. Yeah. Yeah. June 1st will be our final stream.
That didn't do it.
Julio. But yeah, no, the economy's on its way to a shithole. It's on its way to another good old-fashioned just... See, I'm not sorry about it though. Like, it's a weird thing. Like, I think a lot of people are like sad about it, and I get that. But it's like, we've been able to do this full time for years, and that's a gift. I feel in a lot of ways. Like, that's so unbelievably rare. So, don't be sad about it. Be sad, or be happy that it happened at all. That's what I meant.
Help! Stim! Over here!
I'll still miss the Remy streams. They might come out again down the line, right? Never say never.
That didn't work. Wonder what happened here. Focus, Cal.
Right? Saying goodbye is just a chance to say hello again another day. Oh, the U.S. debt No.
Stim!
We're literally not allowed to default. That's part of the reason that countries like China and things like that have stepped in the past. The U.S. is too much of a hub of commerce. If it crashes, the global economy will crash. And that's why a lot of countries won't let us. Yeah. We're like one of those kinds of things. There's a reason that the U.S. owes a lot of money. And I mean, good lord, a lot of money to China.
I can do this.
Yeah. See, unlike countries like, let's say, the USSR, which were not a part of global consumerism. Yeah, a lot of countries aren't into the idea of us falling for that. That's a lot of doomsayers that don't really know what they're talking about.
I need something, buddy.
Why are they talking about the debt ceiling now? We're not even working on trying to do the debt ceiling stuff again right now. Where is this in, like, January when they're setting the budget? I don't get people. Like, this conversation happens pretty much every year when the congressional budget's getting set for the year. And it's always a just nightmare.
That didn't work.
Because apparently in 1 month the US dollar is at the collapse.
Gotta stay calm.
Yeah. That doesn't make sense. That's not how money works. No, that makes zero sense. That's why we all need to get into crypto. Buy more Bitcoin now. The government's gonna collapse the dollar. Buy some NFTs. There's a great, like, hold on. I'm gonna look this up, yeah. Did you send me a DM with this?
The echo hasn't faded. I guess that didn't work.
There's a lending corporation that's saying the US dollar is going to collapse. It'll be horrific. So buy housing. Because if the US dollar collapses, housing's going to go up. Yeah, that makes sense. A few years ago, yeah. Yeah. Alright. So this is what I was talking about, by the way. On, like, why it's so unlikely that the US dollar was going to collapse. Sure, like, it's possible, right? The US dollar is used everywhere. A lot of, like, global reserves is based off of our currency. Right? The value of the dollar might have some minor crashing, right? But that's nothing that hasn't been going on worldwide. The euro dropped. Like, it's something that happens. Currency fluctuates in value. Especially because we don't have... Here's the thing, chat. Here's the thing. Here's my favorite part about the US dollar, right? If it collapses, right? We didn't really lose anything. The US dollar is essentially based off of, in current day, right? What I like to call imagination. Stick with me here. A long, long time ago, in the days of things like Red Dead Redemption 2. And that kind of stuff. So a little over 100 years ago, right? The US dollar was based off of this good old-fashioned kind of ore that you might have heard of called gold. Right? Fuck off, Care. I had nightmares about Theed last night. Chad, every government has their own central currency.
Over here.
I joked about this earlier, to go back a second, right? The dollar is not gonna collapse because of crypto. It's not a thing. It's not gonna happen.
I don't think that did it.
But to go back a second, to the land of Red Dead. It was all based off of essentially the gold standard, right? They want to create a central global currency. No one wants to do that. There is no country signing up to go, let's have one kind of money. Alright? And we'll touch on exactly why that is in a second. But currency used to be based off of, right, the gold standard. Then we realized that using gold as the determination for our currency was difficult. It was difficult to move, it was difficult to handle, and we ended up eliminating it. Alright? We got rid of the gold standard. And we essentially ended up creating our own reserves.
I don't think that worked.
And using that as like our premise, alright? Again, getting back towards the idea and the premise of imaginary money. Our money is not based off of anything but the fundamental value and idea that is widespread that it is worth something. Realistically, it is worth the cost of a piece of paper. With me so far? Okay. So, from there we get into essentially one of the reasons that every country has their own form of currency, right? It's essentially trade value. Everybody wants to know what they're worth, so to speak. Okay. So we have things that are determined based off of currency and sales and how our trades and exports work, which is things like GDP, okay? Which is kind of like gross domestic product. It's essentially a scaling for how our trade and all that kind of stuff works. And every country has that, all right? But more importantly, a lot of countries have their own sort of like centralized currency to either them or in the case of the EU, to that region because they decided it would be easier to scale that. Alright? The EU is only a semi-popular thing. That's why you get things like Brexit, alright? That was more of a trying to increase stability of currency in the entirety of the region premise. Versus, we should take that worldwide. The only kind of currency that currently does that is the EU. China and Russia are trying to create their own currency called BRICS. That makes a lot of sense. Again, a centralized currency between a region helps if they're very interconnected. Alright? Again, think like the European Union. Okay.
That didn't work.
The main premise, and I was literally talking about this to Morgan yesterday, funny enough. It was yesterday, the day before, I was explaining kind of like the premise of why like currency is really important to have like maintained in an area, right? Is like the idea of the EU, right? Is that there's all these different countries that are very close together that have one centralized game currency. Guess what my kids at my work call me. It's perfect. I have no idea what they call you, real VIP king. So, okay, you look at the EU, you look at how all those countries are very close. It is the same premise as the United States having one currency, right? Each state is technically its own kind of thing. My name is Zach, so they call me Mr. Zaxophone. Oh, nice, dude. That's a really cool one. So think of the United States, right? Like, sure, we have our centralized government, but imagine that we don't have the Fed. Okay? It's just states. It would be so complicated to go from state to state to state to state to state with just different forms of currency. Alright? And that was something that was originally thought up when people were starting to talk about, like, state rights in general, was could they have different currencies? And it got shut down pretty quickly because the idea of having a Federal Reserve or a federal form of government that has sort of like a currency exchange was a good idea. But by the same extension, the idea of not having to, and at this point it was like the 13 colonies, right? Have different forms of currency in each one sounded easy. It sounded easier, I should say. And especially as things got more widespread, we moved away from the gold standard and things like that. In the United States, it made a lot more sense. But unless you are closely aligned with another country, you don't want to change your currency to match them. So when you said that it's Russia and China that want to like have their own centralized currency between the two, that makes a lot of sense. They're pretty close knit. Is that going to cause the US dollar to collapse? No. China is one of those countries in particular that is more invested than anyone that the US dollar does not fail. That is a hell of an investment loss to them if we do. Like, Trev, do me a good favor. Isn't China's main currency Bitcoin? No! No one is using Bitcoin as an actual centralized currency. No one. It's so unstable. The main monetary currency in China is called the yuan. Y-U-A-N.
Was lingering.
Yeah. No, crypto is way too unstable, right? You can't use a currency that... Is there a way I can just make this map pop up? Sure, why not? Okay. That looks like this for how much it's worth on the day-to-day basis. I think my favorite thing is this little article right here. U.S. regulatory crackdown sees institutional investors prefer gold to Bitcoin. The problem with Bitcoin and crypto in general being used as like an actual currency is that there's no government stability behind it. So they fluctuate extremely regularly. It's one of the reasons that, like, when I look at like crypto in general, I look at it more as day trading than anything else, like with stocks. Because that's the closest thing you'll get. Like, that's one of the most interesting things about, like, a global economy, too, is that a recession is much more likely than anything like a depression, right? Like, depressions in the past could have been considered more widespread or, like, you know, consistent or things like that. Because, like, a centralized government didn't have, like, a way to do that. There wasn't any way to, like, subsidize other countries in order to help, like, a global, your country's economy, that kind of stuff. Global economy-wise, if you're one of the, we'll put it this way, big boys at the table, right? So, like, you're the EU, you're the United States, you're China, you're, what's the country that Dubai's in? Why can I not remember that? Is that Saudi Arabia? Brain's doing a blank. You're one of the countries that has a big old GDP, is what I'm getting at. That gross domestic product I was talking about earlier. You're one of the big boys that makes a lot of money. The other ones tend to not want to let you fail. Right, though? Is what I'm getting at. El Salvador and the Central African Republic made crypto their main currency. That is a terrible idea. But both of those locations actually make a lot of sense to have. Yeah, why the Central African Republic, though? That's a bizarre choice for them. El Salvador, I can see. El Salvador is tiny. Again, that's very stupid for a country to do, though. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And don't get me wrong, Chad, I'm not like crypto bad. Crypto is a very interesting thing, and I actually think it's pretty cool. Alright. It's just not a centralized currency, and it definitely won't be anytime soon. So it's kind of like, why? Alright, I'm going to switch up my idea here as well. It's more of an investment thing. I mean, investing with your main central currency, though, is... That's what I'm saying. That's a huge risk. Like, colossal. That's a real good way that if crypto tanks...
Let's see what we got here.
Which, in example, like, Bitcoin has... In, like, the last year, it's been very up and down. Because Bitcoin's very much based off of, like, the global market. If it tanks at all, you're just screwed. There's no like middle ground, happy-go-lucky time with that. You're just SOL. That's why I'm like, that's a huge kind of risk. I'm gonna have to get used to this. I think this might be a better way to do it because of that AoE damage, though. Maybe, anyway.
that wasn't it. The echo hasn't faded.
But like, yeah, no, that's super interesting. Would be used in that setting having the government control prices and the coin amount. You can't really control crypto prices though. That's one of the big things about it, is it's based off of supply and demand is definitely not the word I'm looking for. But either like the burn rate or the amount that's out there in the global economy. This lightsaber is not the way. Yeah, back to the other one. Yeah, because you can't control the coin price of crypto. That's one of the bigger things with it. You could do things to influence the coin price as a government, right? But you can't control it. Because crypto is based off of a few different ideas kind of in general. If we're talking about, like, for lack of a better term, I guess, like, the financials of it, right? Like, crypto has burn rate, it has a set cap, which is one of the big things that a lot of cryptos go off of, is like the market cap kind of idea, that there's a set amount. So unless they've like made their own form of cryptocurrency, in which case that's essentially not crypto anymore. That's a central governmental thing. Could be digital based though. There's no reason you couldn't do that. That'd make a lot of sense. I was Ariel. That's some bullshit. Alright, I gotta look this up though. What form of crypto are they using? I gotta know.
Didn't work.
Okay. So El Salvador is very interesting when it comes to currency, right? They have essentially two official currencies. They have been using Bitcoin as legal tender since 2021, but it's not considered to be accepted everywhere. A lot of people still use the US dollar because of the instability with Bitcoin itself. They originally switched to the US dollar from, I guess, the peso quite a few years back. It was like 2001. Essentially with the idea for wanting to go towards Bitcoin as their legal tender. instead of the US dollar because they couldn't print the US dollar. They'd have to import it. Yeah. That's really interesting. And they have Bitcoin ATMs as well. Yeah, because they used to have the Cologne as well. Okay, and then the other one was the Central African Republic. They also use crypto, but they essentially adopted Bitcoin to create its own coin, something called the Sango coin, in order to do it. So they essentially created their own currency based off of it. Yeah. They also have another form of currency as well. That's so weird. Yeah, I was gonna say, because, like, if you create a currency, right? Like Real VIP King was saying earlier, you have more control over that versus a cryptocurrency in general. Cryptocurrency is very much based off of burn rate, supply and demand, and then also essentially the cap. Those are like the three, and I'm not like a crypto genius or anything, alright? Those are, like, I would say at least, like, the three big boy premises behind how to make, or like what those currencies would be determined upon. There's more than that, right? There's a lot more than that. It's based off of mana, it's based off of what it's used for, it's based off of how it's created, how it's burned. There's a lot more that goes into it, but I'm saying in general those would be like the three big things off of that. I'm still just going back to a second. Trev, why did you think the US dollar was going to collapse? Because, yeah, like, when it comes to crypto, those would be more significant than, like, government oversight. Like,
that didn't work.
You can't control Bitcoin.
I wonder what happened here.
You can't control an example like the supply and demand, how much is printed. Hold on, can I call you? Sure. Sure, Trev. Sure. Okay. Hi, Trev. We can't hear you. He's in the mute land, chat.
I don't think that did it.
I don't think he knows that, though.
Do this.
Hello.
Hi.
It's not me. I switched microphones yesterday because my microphone wasn't working and I was robotic. Am I robotic?
You've got some nice little clippity clop. What is going on? Yeah. Oh, no, you're fine.
Oh, okay. Now I'm fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'm buttery smooth.
Close enough.
Close. All right. Well, if it gets weird, let me know. And I'll
It got
switch
weird.
mics. Okay. Give me a second.
Hey, bud.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. Is it weird? Well, I'm probably messing with the mic right now, but is it weird now?
It's fine.
Okay, cool. So, all right, like I've been seeing everywhere on like different social medias, different news outlets, and everything else. Like,
Where? I literally cannot find a single
Oh.
news article that was actually saying it, except
Yeah.
for like ones that were not a thing. I don't know.
I don't know. Our local
I don't
news
think
has been
that
covering it a lot, and like a bunch of stuff on TV. But like,
Send
I don't
me
know.
one of their articles, Trev.
if
I
find
want
what
to
I
see.
will,
Cause like
I will.
this is sounding like one of the beautiful little panic mode.
It kind of felt like that to me too. And that's part of the reason why I was like, I'm just gonna ask Rem, because Rem knows a lot about like
But it's
politics and
panic
economic
mode that
stuff.
doesn't make sense. I don't know anything about economics. I know base principles. There's a I'm gonna clarify that. I am not an economist. That's not even the word for what they are, alright? I can't think of it.
But I'm like, you know, Rem might know something more than I do, because I'm sitting here like, ah, crap, you know, I mean, everything going on, and then all of a sudden now this is on top of everything else, and it's like,
Yeah, how would credit work if crypto is the main currency? I mean, I think that's gotta be the reason that both of them have like a secondary currency. It has to be. Because, yeah, you couldn't have credit, real VIP. That's such a good
I think
point.
it's still troubled.
Like, you'd have to. You'd have to.
I can do this.
yeah,
Crypto fluctuates too much. The idea of having Bitcoin as a
Well,
currency,
no.
like a main currency, is so weird to me.
I think that was a genuine miscommunication between you and me. I wasn't saying that like crypto was going to be the thing or something like that. I was just saying that people were saying that the U.S. dollar, because of the debt ceiling or whatever, was going to collapse. That's what I was trying to say.
People have thought because of the debt ceiling that the US dollar was going to collapse for non-jokingly over like 20 years.
So they're making a huge freaking deal on it, of it everywhere right now, and they're saying like if the U.S. Senate doesn't come to us, like or Senate or some official thing, I don't know, doesn't come to an agreement within this month, we're gonna have to default. And
Hold on, they're
that
not still agreeing on the debt ceiling, are they?
I think they are. See, this is so much easier for me to just tell you.
Hold on. They haven't! It's fucking May! What do you mean they haven't agreed on the debt ceiling yet?
See, this is what I was trying to say, and I was horrible at saying it on stream. That's why I was like, can I just call you, because it's so much
Okay.
easier to explain this.
Okay. 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 Let's talk about this.
Okay.
Literally, I like even said this earlier. They normally agree to this by the end of March. All right? If there's government shutdowns threatened, a whole bunch of stuff, in order to like make it happen, they force it to happen. All right? Republicans and Democrats in Congress have to set a ceiling. It's how much they can essentially borrow. All right? How much debt they can go through and end up getting. June 1st is the projected default date. I
The face you're making right now. It was just like one of pure shock and like, oh god.
Because this shit's you don't hold on this long. Like normally, all right, as of current day, Jesus fucking Christ. All right. Okay. Let's put it this way. Every year we pay taxes, right? There's a date that you pay taxes by, so you're ending up done. All right? Congress has their own form of just bullshittery that they have to set every year, every fiscal year in of itself. Not quarter-based, just year-based. They have to do two things during this time period. They have to, one, set essentially the budget for the year, right? They have to kind of like in principle say exactly kind of like what their ideas are on how they want to spend money for the entire of the year, how much they can spend, and that kind of stuff. So they kind of set like the budget. I'm trying to think of the actual word for it, and it's escaping me.
Not budget, because you said that. Like use it, or like try to
like
define.
They have like a budget resolution, but that's not it. It's essentially like I literally can't think of the word. All right, they essentially set a budget to start. They set the principle, the idea of like what they can spend, how much they can spend, what they're going to start to. The second thing, all right, in order to like avoid a government shutdown, is the debt ceiling. Like normally the government shutdowns when they don't do funding legislation for the next fiscal year. Like that's the big thing. They essentially have to set like a governmental budget of who's getting what, how much they're getting. I'm still looking for like the actual word.
I would say budget's good enough for now though. Just to get the point across.
Because like the U.S. government, right, has like a ton. And I mean a ton of programs. And they essentially have to set how much those programs are getting. It's not budgetary restrictions based off of bills or anything like that. It's setting down how often they're going to end up actually doing it. So they have to set like the federal budget. The yearly premise behind that. The other thing they have to do is the debt ceiling. How much can the U.S. borrow? How much can we do? How much can we raise the debt ceiling in order to do it? And normally this is used as a tool for a little while. All right. Oh my god, I'm still in the fight. They have to set this amount so that if we borrow, we don't default. How much we can do it, and it's used as a negotiating term. Normally, during both, right? The typical way that it works is Republicans want to cut funding of programs. An example, like. Big one that they're not interested in right now is like Medicare and Medicaid and all that kind of stuff. So like Obamacare / I guess it's Trump Care-esque stuff now, because that's a huge spender, right? That's a big money sink, along with like Social Security is another popular one to talk about. Programs like that, expensive programs.
I don't think that works.
Normally Republicans, just as kind of like a default kind of like opinion, want to cut it. In the meantime, Democrats tend to want to spend more into these social programs. So in this point, there's always kind of like a conflict between the two, and they have to work together, essentially be bipartisan, and figure out a way to sort it out. It appears this year they just said fuck it.
And that's what like some of the places that I've been like hearing this from have been kind of saying is that, ooh, you can make them hit each other? Friendly fire?
No.
Okay.
God, I wish.
Yeah, right? That's something that I've been hearing a lot of the places that I've been hearing this from say, is that like if they don't reach a conclusion, then we're gonna go into an even worse like economic crisis type thing.
Oh yeah, no, that's bad. We can't default. They have to grow the fuck up and do that. That's a very different thing than what I thought you were talking about. They default. We're just fucked. There's no like sugarcoating that one kind of answer.
Just like that bite.
Yeah, like let's see. That's what I mean. I thought this was already done because it's normally done by now.
Looks like it's still here.
Like,
yeah, I hate the character limit. It's like I'm trying to shorten everything down to like the base thing and then send it to you to like ask, because I thought this would make an interesting kind of stream conversation as well. But it's like, yeah.
like this
makes it hard to explain.
This is big. You can't. Not set the ceiling, right? And again, they're using it as a debate tool kind of thing. But like
it's like we're paying you to get this job done through taxes and everything else and whatnot. Like this is their job, and it's like, come on.
Like, it's just premise-wise terrible. Because you for sure can't be like,
we're not gonna do it this year.
yeah. And I guess for some reason the 14th Amendment's getting used a whole bunch.
I have no idea about that part.
So the 14th Amendment has a line that goes, the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, should not be questioned. So I think that, because that was essentially made for like the Civil War when the Confederates lost, was to say that they would not be able to borrow money in order to pay back the debt that the South owed.
Okay.
So that they would have to do it. So I wonder if they're trying to bring it back to the Jan 6th stuff, saying that there's been like lots of fees and processing and that government money and time is being used on it, and that it shouldn't be, which is part of the reason that people are debating it, I guess, which is just a whole different thing.
Oh man, I just work here.
That's what I'm saying. They're not sounding like they're working here at all.
No,
It's kind of a miracle that like major government services haven't just stopped. Normally we've got at least like 2 or 3 shutdowns by now. And it's just mandatory employees coming to federal. And that's it at this point. Like, this is a bad one. How the fuck did I not hear about this?
I don't know. It's been everywhere for me, and I'm like, what I don't understand what this means.
So,
Like, I know it means bad things. I get that.
TLDR, U.S. borrowed a lot of money, and now they're debating on how much more they can borrow / set for borrowing in the future, etc. And if they don't set that, then everything bad.
Got you.
Because we just stop. They'll hit it, though. If they have to extend it again, they'll hit it. They had to extend it in order to get it to June.
Gotta stay calm.
Like,
Have they ever extended it in the past like this?
Not that I could think of. This seems far to me.
Do they not move unless you move?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, yeah. So, like, normally, the debt ceiling gets extended to March 31st. And that's kind of like the end of it.
I just don't understand what the thought process is of delaying it this far and then potentially delaying it even farther. Like...
using it as, like, a debate premise. But, like, yeah, again, normally this has to get resolved by, like, February.
I don't know. I think it's childish being used as a debate tool. Like
yeah, no, that's
livelihood.
Congress for you. That is the definition of let's put a whole bunch of giant, childish, self-interested men and women in a position of power and see what happens. Yeah, I don't think it's ever been lifted or this long. Normally, March 31st is like the end.
Well, that's fun.
Like, it starts at, like, how it's worked in the past is they literally try and, like, get them to work on it the year before to start. Right? Hoping that they'll kind of just get her done. Then they normally get it in, like, December. And they push it back. And normally it goes into, like, February or March at the latest. They can just keep extending it as they keep talking about it. Because it's a huge conversation. Setting a yearly budget for a government, especially one like the United States that has tons and tons of essentially departments, right?
There's still something missing.
That's everything from, like, the IRS to the Department of Transportation to the mailman. All of those budgets are set by Congress. All right? Like, there's so many government kind of, like, positions. It's not the word I'm looking for, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
That have to be funded. And it's not a debate of whether or not we defund them or not. They just have to be funded. Typically, the debate really centers around, okay, well, how much do we fund them? I don't know if the post office needs $1 billion every year. Kind of ideas. Right? Versus, like, the Department of Transportation and a whole bunch of other stuff. So they set, like, the government federal thing. And then they go, like, okay, well, how much can we then borrow to hit these goals and if we need new things?
That didn't do it.
And there you kind of go. We're in May, right?
Yeah, we're in May right now.
That's crazy. I can't wrap my head around this.
I know, it's so bizarre.
Well, it's, like, again, like, it's kind of typical. It's just, this is a very no. Pretty much since, like, the 80s, it's been, let's drag this conversation on. Because it's a great tool, and more importantly, it actually needs to be debated, right? Like, especially now, I want to say the U.S. is in how much are we in debt? Where's my favorite counter in the world?
Like it's still here.
Like,
because the national, yeah, I want to say it was like 31. Yeah, it's $31 trillion.
Oh.
That means that each U.S. Oh yeah, always. Never goes down. Right? Like, I think my favorite is, like, each citizen in the United States owes roughly $94,000.
I remember when it was said that we owe like 40,000 at birth, pretty much. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, no, that's like doubled now. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive. But we're free, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But again, most countries, if they were $31 trillion in debt, they'd go goodbye. They'd go, see ya, have a good one, right? We don't do that. There's a reason for that. Right?
The other thing that a lot of the people have been talking about too is like the fact that Russia, China, and whatnot are creating their own, like, I guess global economy, or essentially a central trade, not essential trading.
They're creating their own EU.
Yeah, it's like what we have. They're trying to become independent so that we can't do like sanctions or something against them. In that sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
So
I mean, right? Like, one of the big reasons that China has not intervened with, we'll say, Ukraine, because that's the big button issue still. Wide world war stuff is, because they don't want us fucking with Taiwan. Because you could bet your pretty beautiful asses, chat, that China will invade Taiwan. It is on their hit list of things to do. And we don't really have ties to Taiwan. We don't recognize Taiwan as an independent country. Otherwise, China would just stop talking to us. But their hope, in a lot of ways, is that they don't touch Ukraine when they invade Taiwan, that we don't do anything, or realistically, NATO doesn't say or do anything like we did with Ukraine.
I guess that didn't work.
The problem is, right? That's not likely. Even though their citizens doesn't want that to happen, China to Taiwan, doesn't matter. Right?
global conquest.
Well, not even that.
I know.
It's one of those things that, like, China has thought for a long time, right? That Taiwan is inherently theirs. It's not a conversation. It's not a set piece. It's not a thing. And no, like, of course, no one in China, like, population-wise is like, yo, let's go to war. Nobody wants drafts to pop up.
Bring Simeon. Help me, warmonger. Oh God. It just goes to show sometimes the nicest people are the ones you should fear the most.
I don't know about Winnie the Pooh being the nicest person. All I'm saying is...
Well, who said Winnie the Pooh? He was talking about Gandhi.
I know, but we're talking about China still. Winnie the Pooh, man. Alright. All I'm saying is...
I saw your tweet about the Winnie the Pooh horror game.
That trend needs to fucking stop.
Oh my God. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of tempted to just give it a shot. Just see what it's all about. I'm
like,
curious.
I gotta say, that's my least favorite trend I've ever seen. Winnie the Pooh's, like, special for me. I love Pooh Bear and Friends. 100 Acre Woods is, like, goated. And, of course, like, that's a whole different thing. Copyright law is a hell of a drug in of itself.
Oh, definitely. No, I can agree with you 100% on that one.
But so, the original Pooh Bear, not the one with the red shirt that we know now that Disney loves and owns and cherishes and makes sure that we don't have to deal with blood and honey-esque bullshit, is something that, like, companies can't touch, but they can touch the OG. Now. Because it's now in the public domain.
I mean, it's part of the reason why they don't let Mickey Mouse ever go in the public domain either. And they...
That's not a choice. That's not a choice. Disney's been trying to lobby for years to keep him out, but Steamboat Willie is hitting public domain next year. There is a time period, right? So there is copyright, and then there's trademark. The Mickey Mouse trademark is its own kind of thing, but public domain-wise, like copyright law, even with the extensions that Disney has lobbied and created, it doesn't matter. There is an end. There is a limit, and it does end. That's why Winnie the Pooh and the 100 Acre Woods, right, is now public domain. So that means, an example, I think creature-wise in the 100 Acre Woods, it's now in public domain. It's Winnie the Pooh. It is Eeyore, Piglet.
I couldn't do it.
Rabbit. I think.
Oh, really?
It's like
Tigger's still not?
No, Tigger won't be for like another 15 years. Because Tigger was not in the original story. You got to keep in mind when Winnie the Pooh like existed. We now all remember like his iconic red shirt kind of vibe. That red shirt is not allowed in any source of media for Winnie the Pooh. So like Blood and Honey, right? An example. They had to give him like that red suspender flannel thing because they could not give him his iconic red shirt. If they did, Disney would have sued them into oblivion.
Kind of wish that they did. Not gonna.
Just saying, not gonna lie.
Oh my god. I heard that movie was so terrible too.
It was,
I've actually seen it.
but
Seen
it did. No, I had a friend that saw it, but it made a lot of money.
Oh no, I bet it did.
They did a limited release. It made like 31 mil off of a budget of nothing.
What was it, 15 grand?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So when it prints money like that,
Well, see, what I have to respect the hustle on that one though, and the reason why I say that is because like with that budget and they made that much money, like that's insane. But they took a trend and they capitalized on it like really well.
well, they made the trend.
Exactly.
They were the first, and now that's why everyone's gonna be doing it, and I fucking hate it because it's not a good trend. It's how can we make remakes of remakes shit?
I mean, to be fair though, right? Okay. Companies have been doing that
wasn't
for a
it.
lot longer. That's
The
why
Echo
we have
hasn't
seen like remakes and pre-sequels and sequels and
See, but that's when they own the rights. That's when they own the rights. Now we get independent visionaries that want things to happen, like Winnie the Pooh becoming a horror. You can bet your ass there's gonna be like some Winnie the Pooh kind of like other side of the spectrum with like, we'll say, using the word, but you guys all know what I mean, romance ends, and a lot of other stuff coming here.
Oh, terrible. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think all independent companies are bad when it comes to like that kind of stuff. Like I feel like there are some people who, or some independent film companies who could do a lot better than most Hollywood or other film companies, if that makes sense.
Well, speaking of Hollywood, right? Like, who's excited for everything to suck for the next few years, story writing wise?
Why? What's going on? What I
The Screen Actors or the Screenwriters Guild of America is striking right now. So they haven't done this since I want to say it was like 2013, 2012 was the last time there was a strike, and it took a while.
Here.
So all of Hollywood kind of hit a standstill.
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm gonna be real. I haven't liked a lot of the stories that have been coming out of Hollywood, like film area lately.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, it's just gonna get worse.
Yeah.
A good portion of that comes down to, once again, that like they weren't getting paid well enough, so that's why they're doing the strike now. And it means that they're done for a while, which is bad for storytelling. And considering how unoriginal it is right now in and of itself, that's not great.
Yeah, no, it's only gonna get worse, and there's only gonna be more sequels and pre-sequels and pre-sequels of the pre-sequels.
No, I mean, again, like, Star Wars kind of started a trend there. There's a lot of money to be made in telling the same sort of, like, world stories.
I couldn't do it.
I get that.
I'm not a fan of that, but it makes money. I'm hoping some big losses, like, in example, Amazon's Ring of Power stuff, kind of, like, drive them away from it a little bit.
I heard that was actually not too bad.
Correct, but it lost money.
Oh, yeah, no.
Viewership-wise, it did not have the retention to have made them anything.
I'm both excited and horrified of the prospect. There we go.
That's bullshit, Frog.
That was horrible. You got
That
me in
was
there.
absolute horseshit.
I am both horrified and also strangely intrigued with the One Piece live-action film that Netflix is doing.
Netflix needs to stop making live-action One Piece.
I know
I didn't do it.
but I'm intrigued and horrified at the same time.
It can't be worse than Death Note is the only thing I've got. Holy shit, that was bad.
What do you mean? How it can't be worse? It can They took the most unrealistic anime of all times and are now trying to do a realistic adaptation of it.
They're not trying to do a realistic. It's going to be like unbelievably 3D.
You have,
Realistic.
they're gonna okay, yes, it's gonna be 3D, but it's like it's gonna be horrible 3D.
It's going to be fucking CG non-stop. Alright? It's going to be bad. But Death Note wasn't even Death Note, man. It can't be worse than that.
Luffy's not wearing his iconic flip-flops. I mean, they already messed that up.
If the worst you have is costume design issues, at least it's not Death Note.
I could do this.
No, okay, you want to hear the worst I have? Okay, legitimately. I haven't seen Death Note, so I can't really compare.
Oh, Trev.
No, I've
Go.
seen the Fullmetal Alchemist live action.
No. Go watch Death Notes and send me a DM when you're done. I'm literally giving this to you as homework. Go do that for me.
Just you know what? Hey, you know I'll just stream it. We'll watch together, Rem, you and me.
I'm not doing it again. There's not enough alcohol on this planet to make me do that again. That's like William Shatner's Puss in Boots. You can't make me do it again.
Wait, what?
William Shatner did a straight-to-DVD movie that he played Puss in Boots, and I am convinced he was smashed the entirety of the time.
Oh God.
Hey, BD1.
That's funny, actually. That's genuinely funny. But no, I am. It's not so much the costume design. They're trying to essentially do what M. Night Shyamalan did with like Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I don't know how long each episode of the season is going to be. They apparently spent like more than Game of Thrones did, which is insane in my mind, budget-wise.
I mean, Netflix prints money.
That's true. That's true. But it still blows my mind because I was like, dude, that 10 million an episode for Game of Thrones, and One Piece is doing like apparently I think like what was it?
Are you shocked with the CG budget that they're gonna have?
I mean, no, you got a very good point. Then 90% of that show is gonna be CG because I mean, again, it's the most unrealistic freaking anime of all time. I swear to God, because it has like you have so many different elements. You have like fishmen, you have bizarre creatures, you have Chopper, you have like just really strange-looking people in that show, you know? And then you have all the devil fruits. You have like everything. Set design had to be an absolute nightmare as well.
What set? They're using blue screen.
Okay, all right. 3D set design had to be a nightmare. They're happy.
No, because there's no set. It's blue screen.
It's not just blue screen. They have to make the assets for it. They
Yeah!
have to make the environment.
In blue screen, Trev.
But it
doesn't just work. Like, if you have a blue screen, Rem, you can't just be like, ah!
You just copy paste the 3D assets. That's all you do with blue screen.
Make the 3D assets.
Like, one of my favorite lines from, like, George Lucas was, like, they finished the stats for episode 2 before they fucking wrote the script. So they're like, oh, well, the sets are done. I guess we should start writing this thing, huh?
can do this.
I mean, which episode did you say that was?
Episode 2.
Okay, now are we talking about George Lucas's like?
We're talking episode 2. We're talking prequels. We're talking episode 2.
Okay.
Star Wars Attack of the Clones, guys.
And that's why everyone didn't like the prequel.
Fun fact, Morgan's favorite movie in Star Wars is episode 2.
Oh, really?
Probably because it's just a lazily scrapped again. Romance story, I think is the word. I just think of it as a grooming session, but you know, that's just me, I guess.
Oh, God. Ooh, he got your foot there.
Some fucking bullshit. Yeah, I'm gonna be very drunk later today, chat. I'm sure we're watching through Star Wars right now, because
No.
Star Wars. So like that's what I've been doing in the afternoons. It's like working on resume and then Star Wars.
The echo hasn't.
So
I guess that didn't.
we got through Rogue One. We got 3 more good episodes before we get back into the sequel trilogy, and I'm not excited. I still haven't sat through the whole thing. I used to play it every year. What do you mean you didn't sit through the whole thing? You have to have seen most of it by now. Anyway, what I was getting at is, like, I was really surprised, because, like, normally we get to, like, Han Solo and all that kind of stuff, like the Solo movie, and I'm just like, eh. Rewatching it yesterday, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was. I was there from time to time, but a lot of it was either sleeping during the night moments or working during the day with my other monitor. Oh, that's fair. I was gonna say, yeah, now that I really think about it, yeah, 1, 2, 3 would have always been rough for, like, our stream through movie days. That's fair. That's based.
The echo's still here.
Because, yeah, 1, 2, 3 was, like, done before we got up. Because I started it at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's all on Disney+. It's worth your time. I still like the prequels. They've got terrible writing, but they're so much fucking fun. Unlike the sequel trilogy, which I'm literally just drunk by the time I hit there. Because I can't do it. I cannot do it sober. One of the things that I'll always hate, right, is that Rian Johnson got to write a Star Wars movie. I love Knives Out. I like Jumper. I like a lot of the stuff he's done. He should not ever have been writing a fucking Star Wars movie.
Why not though?
Because he's a good writer with independent IPs. We let him write Star Wars, you know what we get? The first your mama joke in Star Wars. Not a bit.
That's funny.
I'm glad you think so. There's
You know.
You're like one of 4 people on the entire fucking planet that thinks that that's great. Let's show that Poe Dameron is a bright, witty young man. How about a your mama joke? That's perfect.
That works.
That works. Fucking
Oh,
Christ almighty.
I don't think that did it.
We want to make sure that everyone knows he's a smart man who has clever insights and is very Han Solo-ish. Your mama! Also, we've established that the First Order is a group of people that is essentially the reverse rebels, right? They're the bad guys. They're the bad guys. They're the Empire, but the Empire was destroyed, so they're like the second Empire that comes out of the shadows, but they don't have a lot of troops. So instead of showing a rebellion of sorts from the First Order, how about we just show that they're big and make them big and intimidating, even though they're actually like 1,000th of the New Republic army.
So
I don't know what the premise was there.
I think that's a new IP that you just developed, where it's like whenever you go into Remy Explains, you just talk in that voice, because that was actually pretty entertaining.
Ah! Oh my god, dude. Skippy Explains Star Wars. It's bad. I gotta say though, I do love this new fascination with the High Jedi though, like the High Order. Disney greenlit that they can essentially talk about like peak Jedi Order times, right? Which is like after the Sith War, and if Disney ends up making a canon, like the Old Republic. So like SWTOR was like this huge colossal war between like the Jedi and the Sith, that the Jedi fucking mommied them because the Sith wouldn't stop infighting constantly. Because that's kind of their jam. Because this is pre-Rule of Two kind of shenanery. So like all they did was like fight over control, because like, you know, they're just power whores.
Stim, please.
Stim, please.
Stim.
Hey, BD.
So you think that Ogo or Bogo dude or whatever his name is, not the Spawn but the other one, has the least amount of health?
I don't know. I hope so. Why are you guys doing this?
BD, here.
Lads, I need you to group up for this plan to work.
Up here.
And you can't cut off their tongues.
Not the mill.
Here, buddy. Little help, BD.
What the fuck killed me?
They use the Force, Remy. They use the Force.
Air.
Air. I still stand by they use the Force.
The echo hasn't faded. I guess that didn't work.
Cal, so help me Jesus Jesus Christ, I'ma beat your ass. Well, I guess that didn't work. Yeah, you're right. You dying to two fucking frogs did not work. Do you have to do this? No. But I have to do this.
It's a vendetta.
Kara, do you remember the first game? Because I'll be honest, you don't need to. There was only one thing you needed to remember out of the first game. The only thing that I remember out of the first game was that there was a frog. This frog was a beautiful piece of shit. His name was fucking Ogdo Bogdo!
Tell me more about how that makes you feel.
Ogdo Bogdo at some point nutted and scudded somewhere and had a kid. So the game went, let's have you play and fight the spawn of Ogdo, which was a nightmare. Alright? For those uninitiated, he was the big Ogdo fight of this game, and I went, ha 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 ha, I'm so glad they did this. This was such a good meme. It was such a good fight. When I killed Spawn of Ogdo, this fucking thing opened up.
And we can't even cheese this Ogdo.
So, What I'm getting at, chat,
Looks like it's still here.
is they have to die.
I can do this.
This is a me thing. There is one Souls-like boss I have ever fought that got me this mad, and it was Ogdo. Alright. Dark Souls fights? Sure, there's a ton of those that are like big bad, make me sad kind of villain shit. Orange Team Smog looking at you, you motherfuckers. Alright. But when it comes to Souls-likes, not from software games, right? There's like a few bosses that have made me mad. There was one in the Surge. There was all of them in, it's like Fallen Lords or whatever. Because that game was janky piece of shit. Which is why I'm glad it's getting a remake that actually they might put some time in and actually work it and make it good. Right?
How far are you in the game right now?
I don't know. It's a great question. I think that this is stream 5. If I saw the VODs right yesterday.
I got you. I'm only wondering because I'm kind of curious. Again, I've said this like in every stream that like you fought these frogs in, but like these frogs make me want to get the game just so that I can face the frogs and see how I do.
Well, there's a lot of really good fights. It's just not super hard because like I'm good at video games, right? Like, oh, my Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time amiibo.
I don't think that
the
works.
Link's playing as Ocarina is showing up on the 18th.
Ooh!
Yeah.
I got one of those too. And
Good.
it's coming
Good.
up. Yeah.
I linked you that, right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Do you know how much that amiibo goes for normally?
It's going for 46 right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll buy one. And I should have bought two.
Amiibos are stupid. I have a villager that I bought for $12 behind me. Unboxed, right? It goes for close to like $200, I think is the last time I checked.
Wow.
Like some of my boxed amiibos go for way more. Like I think that the Solaire amiibo I have from Dark Souls is like $100 amiibo.
Really? Man, I should have collected amiibos.
Need an assist.
Then again, though, when the Switch, whenever they move away from the Switch, like,
They're just gonna skyrocket.
you think so?
Yeah. No reprints?
Yeah, I guess that's the point.
Like no reprints, and there's a whole bunch of collectible figures of every sort of like thing. Like, yeah. Yeah, they're gonna do this a lot.
Didn't work.
Didn't work, says Cow Kestis.
Stay calm.
Well, hey, I mean, if the U.S. doesn't come to their debt ceiling resolution thing or whatever, you got a backup. Yeah, you can sell some of those amiibos and make some money. If anyone's
No.
willing to buy.
There's no way they don't do it. Even if they have to extend it again. Which would be like, huh?
That's just crazy.
What's crazy is how much of a waste of time it is. Right? Like, them debating the debt ceiling, they could have actually been debating something else that mattered. I had to kill myself, there's no way. But yeah, like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe they're still debating the debt ceiling. That's... Bruh.
See,
Bruh.
I knew I was explaining something wrong. Like, again, explaining like on voice chat is a lot easier than explaining it in text.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Focus, Cal.
Well, I thought you were saying, like, it's, like, how it's, you made it sound is it's just like, the currency's collapsing. It's like, our currency's always collapsing. All currency's collapsing.
Mm-hmm.
It's based off of imaginary.
A stuff of imagination. Alright, Rem. I am gonna leave you to your froggy fate. I wish you the best of luck and the best of vibes. But like you, I also have to get things a little bit done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I appreciate you like letting me hop on call and just kind of talk and BS with you for a little bit.
Yeah, I appreciate explaining the debt ceiling.
Did you though? Did
Yes.
You really? Okay.
I hope to God you have a better understanding.
No, I do. I just didn't know if you were throwing a little bit of sarcasm in there.
No. Education, chat, is important. I think that knowing things, especially if it's significant like that, is a good thing to know. And I'm always happy about to talk about it on stream. It's like when Jan 6th happened, there's a reason we covered it on stream. It's like, this is a history thing. This is going to be a thing for a very long time. We may as
That
well.
wasn't it. The echo hasn't faded.
I mean, it's something that they don't really teach a lot in schooling, and I think they should. They should teach about, like, or at least in my school they didn't. I don't know.
Calm.
I grew up in a Hick school, so,
Yeah.
you know, our main focus was football and taxidermy.
They didn't teach you taxidermy in school. There's no way.
They did. No, they genuinely did. That was a thing in our school. I literally am not joking.
How? You guys had to do CSAT, or whatever version of that you had.
What?
You had a standardized test you had to take every year. I don't know what yours was called.
Not. Yeah, no, we had something like that, but it's.
Oh, I know you had one. It was every year. It was every year. It had to be every year because of No Child Left Behind made it every year.
No, it literally was not every year. I'm telling you 100,000% it was not every year.
Your school broke the law.
It was like once every like 3 years or something.
It shouldn't have been in like elementary school and middle school. It should have been every year. If it wasn't, your school broke the law. That's not even a bit.
You know, I should tell you some of the stuff my school did, and then you'll understand that it breaking the law is not common. Like it wouldn't escape your mind. Like, I grew up in a pretty bad school.
I was saying, because standardizing test
The echo
was
hasn't
mandatory. You're older than me. It had to have been mandatory. Because No Child Left Behind made damn sure it was.
Not in my school, man. Not in technically any of my schools except the private school I went to for 2 years.
Dear Christ.
But the worst offender would be my first school that I went to, all the way up until high school. And that one, the whole reason why I became kind of a dropout is because I switched schools so often.
Yeah.
That they lost my credits. Like, I was set to be actually an early graduate from my first school, but then due to everything that happened and my credits getting lost,
That worked.
apparently lost like the very majority of my credits, and I had to
That
super senior.
sucks.
Yeah, no, it does. And then they told me in my last school that I went to that even if I did go do summer school and everything like that, I would probably age out before I would actually graduate. That's how far behind I was.
That's so cringe.
So it's fun.
How were they not able to like confirm that shit? Like you. Oh.
It was something to do with the transfer from my first public school to my private school that I went to for 2 years, and then back to a public school. There was something in there that got lost in credits.
I would have been hounding people. I'm sure you did though, knowing you.
No, my mom was on that, and I was too. And I like, no matter what I did, it just they're like, yeah, no, it sucks.
That, yeah.
So that's the thing.
You know,
Education. Huh?
oh, I was gonna say, people kept telling me they don't attack at the same time. Whoever said that, you're fucking dumb.
No, yeah, no, they definitely
do.
attack at the same time. They have done that 110%. I've seen that like so much, dude. I definitely think if you were to focus on one and just get one out, it would make your life infinitely easier.
See, the thing is like, I have to get them both. Because if I don't do the damage, I won't have the damage, and then I'll have to do the fight normally.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have to do the fight normally, I won't have any stims for any mistakes, and I'll have to be good. I'll have to be beyond just good. I'll have to be, like, close to perfect. And I don't know if I'm capable of that. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm intentionally taking, like, small hits. Right? So I can get some force regeneration going on. With my stim pack stuff.
I got you.
That was some bullshit.
You know what would be kind of a funny little content idea for this? After you're done actually beating these guys, because eventually you'll beat them, right? Eventually. You should look up on YouTube to see if anyone like has a speed run of this and just watch how they do it.
I want you to know, like, so there's this series I used to do a long time ago, right? Like, before Playing with Remy existed, back when, like, there was the thing called Crossbow Bros and things like that Zerg and I used to run, right? I remember, like, that long ago, chat, back when I used to. There's a video series I used to do every once in a while. It was, like, Remy Rants.
I don't think that works.
This thing's getting a fucking video. This fucking frog family is getting a goddamn video.
What if though they have another frog?
They
that
do,
you have to
Trev.
face in the third game.
They do, Trev.
They do.
He's watching me. When I wipe this fight, I'll show you him.
Instead of a normal frog, though, it's gonna be a frog that stands on two legs and has force and its own lightsaber.
Honestly, a lightsaber fight would be easier than this. Wow, I got ripped from one and come on!
You know, it's kind of funny because that can actually happen in real life with frogs and flies. I've seen that happen. Where like a fly gets snatched and then another frog like snatches the fly from the frog. Not exactly like that, but it was pretty similar. It was funny. I laughed.
He's right here.
Wow, he is watching you.
And he watched me kill his dad, and then I made fun of him for like 5 minutes afterwards, going, haha, this will be you in the next game. And then I found this. He got the last laugh.
Gotta stay calm.
I think he is studying you. I think he's getting ready for the next fight. And it's just gonna be you, him, and his brothers and sisters that you never even knew were there. All right, Rem. I'm gonna let you go though. You got this fight. Kill them. Kill them good. And I'll talk to you later, buddy. Super focused.
Come on!
Right here,
Oh my
buddy.
god. Alright, Reb. I wish you the best luck. I'll leave you on that note.
I've had like 50 deaths today!
Man, you know, at least you're not doing a Dead Space run where you're where if you die X amount of times, you know, to kind of thing. Like if you die X amount of times, you have to dye your hair green or something.
Trev, I'd prefer that right now. I'd prefer
Well, no,
that
I'm
right
saying
now.
like at least you're not doing a death counter, like.
Oh,
goal.
for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have walked around the frogs.
The first frog.
I would have just, yeah, no, because all these frogs are optional.
Oh god. It's just, you do so much damage in the beginning to one of them.
To both of them.
Yeah.
It's just, that's because that's when I've got them grouped. If I can keep these idiots together, we're good.
Help me, BD. Will help, BD.
I'm like so invested right now.
No!
Dang, dude.
That was it.
You got him down halfway. You'll get it, Rem. I believe in you, but I will let you go. Good luck and Godspeed, friend.
The echo's lingering.
Godspeed.
I'm in hell.
Focus, Cal.
I'm in hell. God damn it. God damn it.
Hey, BD1.
I'm in hell and I'm not having a good time. I'm in hell and I'm getting frogged on. I'm in hell, I'm getting frog timed, and it's not
There's still
going
something
that
missing.
well. Cause it's froggy, it's hoppy, it feels real stoppy.
Stay calm.
I hate it so much just cause it's a froggy. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Stim. couldn't do it. I can do this. Give me a stim. Help me, BD.
I think my favorite part is they kill me and then they just walk away. They don't have the dignity to do anything else. They're just like,
That didn't do it. I can do this.
Cal, are you sure you can do it? Alright. We're gonna keep trying. I think
BD.
again, this is frog stream. I expect this to be the entire stream. If we cannot down the frog during this stream, yeah, what we'll do is we'll progress some story and then we'll come back. We'll rank you up who a little bit. You know, I'm curious about one thing. Those do not work. This was, as the kids would call it, a bad idea, and I regret trying.
Right here, bud. BD, here. Hey, bud, Tim. Over here. Stim, please. Buddy, help. I need help, bud.
It's like compounding failure over time just continues to just slap you in the face over and 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 over until you're dead.
I don't think that worked.
But persistence, chat. Persistence and pure rage will get us through. And I believe that. I believe that I'll eventually have the chance to beat this fight. As long as things like that bug don't happen. I got a chance. Fun fact, backwards is death because the arena's small and I'm dumb. And you'd think I'd learn this lesson, but 227 deaths into this game, I definitely am not learning the lesson.
That didn't do it.
Let's go talk around the canteen. Maybe I'll get like an item or something. I need a break. I need a small break. Because it's breaking me. This fight's unforgivable.
Cal, there you are.
Both told me everything. Both pistols blazing, a real crack shot, straight out of the hull of it.
Easy, Captain. Just trying to debrief.
Debrief? Ooh, you hear that? This guy's a pro. How come we never debrief, Cal?
Simmer down. You enjoying the spotlight boat?
Like an Imperial cavity search. But I've got to admit, it's great to see everyone excited.
Please don't be bad.
Pyloon's is drawing a crowd.
Yeah, could be words out that I'm the best cook this side of the Hydian Way. Oh, what do you know, BD? You've got no taste buds.
BD's a sassy little bot and I love him.
There's a Garako stalking around Dredger Gorge.
Oh yeah?
Nasty fella. Reminds me of a creature my sister and I hunted on Firana. Fast, strong, tore through everything in its path.
Sounds dangerous.
And it's all yours. My advice? When it's on the rampage, get out of the way or it'll flatten you.
Thanks for the heads up.
And this search
There he is. Got your first target lined up. Looks like some Hexian hack named Kip Oster has been slinking around Dredger Gorge. This guy likes to catch his prey off guard, so watch your back.
Thanks for the tip.
Just thank me when you turn in his bounty puck.
Paste.
is this
Now that we're partners,
Partners, huh?
business associates, best buds, call us whatever you will.
Based.
Thing is, our relationship is an investment, and we've got bigger fish to fry than these raider hacks.
I'll get to those bounties, but if my friends are in trouble, they take priority.
You're gonna get killed with that attitude, Cal. But on a certain level, I can respect it.
Cal, look at this saloon.
Monk's been really busy.
And I helped by staying out of the way. Did you know there's even a garden on the roof?
Yeah, I've seen it.
You know what I like about plants? When you talk to them, they can't just walk away.
A lot of prospectors around here. Have you ever tried your hand at mining priorite?
Once.
Oh my
I
god.
found it enlightening.
It's such a good line.
Some prospectors invited me to join them on an expedition. We descended to the mines, but when my back was turned, they fled.
They ditched you?
Yes, a Alone, I calmly walked through the darkness, trusting my intuition. I found another exit.
The prospectors?
Dead. Morocco attack. If I had chased them, I would have perished too. Let this be a lesson. Always go your own way.
Private table.
All right then.
Whoa, down, Brock. Sorry about my friend here. He's just a little guarded.
Yeah, I get it.
Name's Dana. The old geezer's called Brock.
We've had this conversation before.
This is BD.
Say, you looking for work? Brock and I have a talent for turning opportunity into profit.
We've had
Oh
this
yeah,
conversation.
it took real talent to drop that Durasteel brace on me.
Brock's a little steamed because he choked on our last job in Dredger Gorge.
Choked? Cal, the woman almost got me killed. Practically wrote my damn epitaph.
Oh, is it time for your nap, grumpy old Brock? Is it?
I'm gonna head out.
Lunatic.
Crosspatch?
They're in love.
So how'd you become a music producer?
I was born on Riosa in the Inner Rim.
I've heard of it. Lots of heavy industry.
Yeah, you couldn't escape the factories, so I used to make little tunes out of the noise from them in my head.
You started early then.
And never stopped.
I'm glad you're all right. Lucky Turgle hasn't doomed us all by antagonizing the raiders.
Based.
Turgle didn't have anything to do with Z's kidnapping.
Disagree.
Well, then why did you bother to rescue her? You hardly know her. If I were at the business end of a Bedlam Raider rifle, you wouldn't soak up a blaster bolt for me.
I probably would.
As I thought you would. Well, that's very decent of you. I leave you in the dust. Nothing personal.
Yeah, I figured.
Oh, I love it.
Monk, you back there?
How about a bit of refreshment for bringing Z back safe and sound? On the house, of course.
I'm good, thanks. Why don't you send a drink Bode's way? Wouldn't have been able to save her without his help.
All right, but I still owe you one. Heritage coming back safe is the talk of the saloon. Something charming about that old gal, wouldn't you say?
Till next time, pal.
Monk's got a thing for Z? Weird. Can robots make baby shit? Just enjoy that thought for a while.
So, you wish to prick up your ears and receive the tale of Scuba?
If you're sharing stories, we'll listen.
Then you be a fool, my lad. My sordid tale will bring you nothing but grief and woe.
Okay, well, if you're not sharing stories, we'll...
Oh, fine, I'll tell you. At your own assistance, and at your own peril. My story begins in a small village on the frozen banks of Sakavita, my home world. Nights black as quillfish in it. Winters so cold, a stern look can turn you to glass.
Doesn't sound like the easiest place to grow up.
Difficult, aye. From the moment your mother's milk froze on your tongue to the moment you found it on frozen streets. You see, the fishes, they had the right of it. They dwelt far below the ice, where warm currents danced like ribbons in the wind. To fish so scarce a quarry, on account of the great fish famine, well, it's near a mild undertaking. But for all the belly
I love Scuba so much.
peaceful enough life for a wee Sacavian with an instinct for the rod.
So you discovered your talent early.
Such a talent was I, that as a lad, me hardly spotted my first prickly chin hair. I was given an audience with Undan. But that'd be a tale for another time.
It true then? Nicked that droid back from the raiders, did you?
I don't think we met.
Oh, lass. Sorry about that. Came at you like a rock, I did. Call me hard. been here longer than any of these greenhorns. Except Doma, and Gulu, and Guido, and old Toll, of course. But she's... Blast, there I go again. Cal, is it?
Right. This is BD.
Damn fine to meet you two, damn fine.
Okay.
Cal, while you're here, could I run something by you?
Sure. What have you got?
I heard some dredge operators discussing a strange structure in the swamp. Almost certainly another High Republic chamber. But I don't like my chances of conducting successful research on the Raiders' doorstep.
Maybe I could check it out for you.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
How you feeling, Z?
Much improved, Cal, now that I am far from that ghastly ship.
It's seen better days, that's for sure.
The same could be said for the entire galaxy, could it not? But it is heartening to see that some bright spots yet remain.
That's why we keep fighting.
Indeed. I must say, I see vestiges of the Order, my Order, in you and your companions. It is most heartening.
Sometimes you know just what to say.
You returned in one piece.
You sound surprised.
You do have a knack for getting into trouble.
Yeah, but Bode has a knack for keeping me on the right side of blaster fire.
A useful quality in a friend.
Based.
Good to see you made it back. How's Pyloon's treating you?
It's adorably derelict and entirely unique. If
Oh,
this
okay.
container were on Coruscant, you could quadruple the prices and still have lines out the door.
Any luck with the data pad?
Ask Doma. She's working on it.
Thanks again for your help, Cal.
Don't mention it.
Nah, I'm good. I want to go to the roof, though. Is this the way? Yeah, this is the way. Yo!
We're off to a pretty good start here, buddy. Hi, Peely.
So far, Kobo has been a welcoming home, and this rooftop's energy drew me towards it.
You feel a connection to this garden.
Yes, we will help each other grow.
Looks like you've already started.
The vines? Yes, they sprouted overnight. But there's so much more to discover. If you plant new seeds, I'll tell you all about them. But, much like healthy roots, do not overextend yourself. Grow the plants we have, and I'll clear more garden space in due time.
Oh.
All right, ready to do some gardening? We've got a new plant. Let's talk to Peely about it.
The garden resonates with you.
Now we wait.
Just you wait for that golden light moss to grow. Observe the roots that rise up underneath, helping the flowers to reach nearby light sources. I see you planted a spine fluff. They are quite adorable, but beware. Nested amongst those plumes are some claw-sharp needles. Ooh, a bluebell squish, how fascinating! Its flower has a most unusual scent, drawn from the moss as it blooms. I find it quite pleasant. We can talk later.
Oh. No.
Focus, Cal.
Why? There's another tear, Chet. Oh.
The Empire's not gonna be happy that we found a Jedi. Don't blame me.
Victory is imminent. Target is vulnerable. I am dead.
Nah! I don't like it. Okay. Just another thing to walk away from.
That didn't work. Wonder what happened here. Let's stop for a moment.
Gonna do this, gonna do this, gonna leave, gonna go ahead and press this button because it's over. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for your life, you guys. We'll be back on Monday with some more Star Wars, and most importantly, more Xenoblade 2. It's gonna be a good week. Hopefully finish it both. Right in time for Breath of the Wild on Friday, or Tears of the Kingdom on Friday, sorry. And yeah, that's about it. So thanks for hanging out and spending some of your life here. Hope that you guys have a great weekend. I'll catch you guys real soon. Till then, bye-bye.